What is the point of it all? Why do we come on? Why do we look at stocks and markets and crypto? And why do we consume ourselves with reading, watching, writing, learning? What it's doing is helping us, and I've talked about this before, achieve our future visions of ourselves. We all have that. From when you're a little kid to through your whole life, you kind of think of who you want to be. And a lot of happiness is driven by the difference between those goals and ambitions and where you actually are. And personal finance is where that all comes together. It's how do you actually manifest that? How do you make it happen? And it actually is a route to happiness. And then people get confused because they think it's all about money. And it's like, I don't think it's about money at all. I think money is part of the things that enables what the journey is all about, which is about lifestyle and happiness.
Welcome back to Money 101. Today we're delving into the profound intersection of our financial pursuits and our deepest aspirations for the future. According to Raoul Pal, our exploration of stocks, markets, and crypto transcends mere wealth accumulation. It's a process of crafting a life that harmonizes with our vision of happiness. This intricate interplay between our present circumstances and our dreams is where personal finance transforms into a powerful instrument for manifesting our aspirations. Now, how does this concept translate into actionable insights for you? How can you navigate the complexities of investments to authentically enrich your life? Join us as we unravel these questions, offering guidance on making financial decisions that resonate with the overarching goals of your life. And of course, if you find value in our content, we encourage you to subscribe and like this video. Your support empowers us to deliver more insightful content your way.
To be honest, it was easier for me. Not that it was easy, and we'll go back a bit of my story, but it was easier because when I was young, it was easier to afford a house and assets, and now it's not. So what you're seeing, why it's stressful, is that gap between where you want to be. And this is not people saying, I want to be a billionaire. It's just like, I want to have a nice house. I want to get married, have kids, whatever that vision of yourself is. And you're like, how the hell do I get here when my paycheck is all gone just on spending stuff? If I look at my investments, they're just not adding up to be able to buy a house. Or wherever you are in your financial journey, that is the problem with retirees. It's like, I don't know how long I'm going to live for. Therefore, do I have enough money? Right. It's a really simple equation that goes in people's heads. I know there was some nonsense by the BIS or somebody talking about how aging populations are inflationary. I'm like, have you never met an old person? The moment they retire, they start hoarding their money because they don't know how long they live for.
Yeah.
The biggest fear of all, if you think of all of this manifesting for your future destiny, the absolute worst outcome is to be penniless at 85 years old, right? So the risk aversion is so dramatic at that point that people don't spend money. So there's a lot of stress points that come, and we can talk about some of those through my journey and my perspectives that will help people understand. And then I can also talk about different perspectives for different types of people. So for me, I didn't get a Harvard or Oxford or Cambridge or whatever. I got into one university. The only offer I got rejected by everybody else. I was almost thrown out 2 years running for enjoying myself too much. Final year, I got my shit together, moved in with my girlfriend and managed to get a decent degree. But it was from a crappy university, and I graduated smack bang in the 1990 recession. And so there were no jobs. I'm like, oh, this is awful. And, any millennial now knows that because basically it's happened to all of them. But that's what happened to me. And I've still got at home 100 and something rejection letters from everybody I wrote to. So my start wasn't perfect. You don't need perfect. What you need to do is figure out what you're good at. What is your skill set that you can bring to the world? Mine was my ability to communicate. I had a certain confidence because I'd grown up around adults. My parents were really good that, they would have these drinks parties, whatever, and I would be there with my sister serving snacks and pouring drinks and, at 8 years old or whatever. And then even into my teens and later, my parents always involved us. And so you got used to speaking to people. And Dad was later in his career a headhunter, exec recruiter. So we used to have these quite fancy people around at parties, and I just knew them as people. And so I learned that thing. The other thing I learned was what else was unique about me was my background, my ability, having mixed parentage and both first generation and having traveled a lot and seen the world. So that made me broadly able to connect with people. Then there was a couple of things that were really key. Is my father always said the best skill you can have in the entire planet is the ability to sell, because you always have an income. Right, that struck with me. That was the advice he gave a lot of my friends who didn't go to university. He said, people like you become a salesman. Like, all did really well. I mean, really well. And that was phenomenal. The other piece of advice I got, somebody said to me while I graduated, said, well, what are you going to do for a job? Dad used to be in marketing. And I said, well, I'm thinking about marketing and I'm thinking about finance, because the 80s had just happened and I saw these, champagne and Porsches and stripy shirts and braces and this, like, I want this, Wall Street. And it was a crazy time, particularly in England. And the guy looked at me and gave me the best piece of life advice I've ever had, which was, Raoul, you can go and work for Mars, fantastic marketing company, and they'll give you free Mars bars. Or you can go and work for a bank and they'll give you free money. And the point being is you get to make the decision that if money is a driver, that you think you want to accumulate a certain amount of money, you need to make the right decisions. So the same graduate could have taken two paths. And if I'd look back 4 years later, back then I was probably earning $250,000 a year 4 years later as a 25-year-old. Had I stayed at Procter & Gamble or somewhere, I'd have been earning $40,000 a year. That one simple decision, same job basically, selling or marketing. One was marketing equity derivatives, the other wasn't. And the point being is there is an arbitrage. So think carefully about where you put your skill set. Right now, Silicon Valley pays more than anybody else. And you'll hear me talk about this a lot, it's a secular trend. The first stage of your career is make a half-decent choice. You will have every reason why you can't do it. Like, I had the wrong degree, I couldn't get in, it was a recession, blah, blah, blah. Hustle, I came through the side door, got in, proved myself. How I prove myself is I manifest myself in who I want to be. If you want to be the best at what you do, think of yourself as the best at what you do and make that happen. What must it be for me to be the best? That doesn't mean be arrogant and assume you're the best. It's actually a little bit further on in my career, I was at NatWest Markets, and what I wanted to be was at Goldman Sachs. I wanted to be the best of the best. And I knew I was pretty good at that point, but I wanted to prove that to myself. That, at the absolute the peak of financial markets, that I could compete with the best. And every day I went to work, I said, what would I do if I were at Goldman? How would I act? How would I think? What kind of revenues would I try and achieve? And bizarrely enough, in the end, I look at my Bloomberg messages one day and there's a message from the partner of equity derivatives at Goldman saying, come and build a hedge fund business here. Bizarre, but you kind of manifest this stuff, right? Because people know suddenly that you're going to fit in, you're going to be professional, and manifesting your destiny is the key thing. And how I break this down, and again, we'll go through this, is 5-year chunks. Because if not, you've got this big risk of, I want to end up on a yacht in the Caribbean, you're 23 years old. Forget about it. Your chances of missing that is very high. So what you want is incremental steps. You might have a vision for yourself, but the incremental steps are what matter, and they're generally about 5 years. Where do I want to be in 5 years' time? And then you look back and say, okay, how do I get here? And you make it happen. Now, you will fail at many of those things. You may never take the path. You may not quite get there, but you'll have a damn better chance than daydreaming, because you're actually making it happen. How do I get to the peak of, what I was doing? Well, I would just visualize being that person. And then you go back and make it happen. Don't stick on the one thing, which is career or money. Stick on, how do I want to feel in the future? What kind of person do I want to be? How do we want to feel? This is what I think is personal finance. This is the key thing to this, is how do you feel? And people get trapped in thinking it's about money.
Raoul Pal imparts a final nugget of wisdom centered on the art of manifesting one's destiny. It transcends mere goal setting. Instead, it entails embodying the version of yourself capable of realizing those aspirations. Pal's personal journey, marked by resilience, strategic planning, and unwavering self-belief, serves as a testament to the transformative power of these principles, a wisdom directly applicable to personal finance. In the realm of personal finance, the key lies in establishing clear, achievable objectives for your financial future, methodically broken down into manageable steps. This strategic approach can serve as a compass, guiding your decisions and actions toward the realization of your desired outcomes. Yet it's equally crucial to embrace flexibility, remaining open to alternative paths that may deviate from the original plan but lead to equally fulfilling destinations. As we bring today's discussion to a close, let's internalize the notion that personal finance extends beyond mere wealth accumulation. It's a means of crafting a life brimming with joy, satisfaction, and tranquility. Your financial decisions should act as pillars supporting the life you envision, not merely influencing the balance in your bank account. Carry this perspective along your financial journey, recognizing that success isn't solely about the destination, but encompasses the richness of the journey itself.